Greetings, Star Citizens, and welcome to Flight Deck. This is a weekly podcast about Star Citizen and other gamer culture topics. I'm your host, Linkstatic MDK, and with me, as always, is Paper Thin.
Hey, guys.
Today's topics, we have Around the Verse, Episode 49, Reverse the Verse, Episode 52, 10 for the Producers, Episode 8, Behind the Scenes ArtCorp and the Persistent Universe, and Advocacy Archive, Lost and Found. So, not a lot going on this week. I just gotta say in general, like there wasn't a lot of content that came out. So
yeah, it was just kind of I think they're all hands on deck trying to get, FPS out. So
right.
I don't think we're getting a lot of new stuff until that's pretty much done.
Well, and the weird thing with the way they're doing FPS is it's coming out in like a rolling system. So like even when it comes out, it doesn't mean we're gonna get to play it right away.
Sad face. But yeah,
yeah.
I understand why they're doing it. They can't just push it out to everyone. I mean,
kidding.
It would just be unfunctional for weeks.
Plus, chances are the earlier you subscribe, the more likely you are to be like, understanding if there are issues.
Right, exactly.
Not that I'm saying new subscribers are whiny, complaining buttholes, but new subscribers are whiny, complaining buttholes.
I mean, the old subscribers, we've been through it. We've been through the Arena Commander rollout. We've been through a 1.0 rollout. We know it's not, it's never smooth. So
we understand this isn't a finished game.
Yes.
We understand why we backed instead of just saying, "Hey, I backed to play game content, man."
Yeah.
Why is there no game content when I paid money? Jesus.
Tell us how you really feel. All right.
Well, when I stop reading on the forums, I'll stop making fun of it on this program.
Oh, that's
So I'm never going to stop.
You're never going to stop. That's
nope.
All right.
Until the game's released. But then they'll be complaining about whatever the expansion stuff is. So I guess I never will stop.
Yeah. Oh well.
When are we going to be able to play as blah blah blah? The new race that was introduced. That's what it's going to be. It totally is.
Oh, yeah. I've already heard people asking to want to be able to play as Jean or.
We don't even have
Vandal.
human playing. They want Jean to. Come on, guys! Really? Wow. Let's just jump into it. All right. Yeah. So first topic we had was Around the Verse, episode 49. This one was 31 minutes and 4 seconds long. Started out with an Empire report, which we hadn't seen for 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah. Thank God it's back.
Yeah. 3 main stories were highlighted this time. 3 are every time, but these are the 3 that they had this time. Civil War on Charon 3. Apparently there were some failed peace talks going on, so now it's Civil War, which is cool. Yeah. I hope that's introduced in game.
I do too. I am in on Civil War.
Yeah, especially when you can profit from giving weapons to both sides. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'll do a run for these guys. Oh, they're starting to win. I better do some runs for the other guys. Got to keep this war going as long as possible, man.
Exactly.
Ship insurance scams, UE intervention needed. So I hope that's like a dig at everybody who always thinks that insurance matters. I hope that's CIG just messing with people, right?
That would be great.
Oh, that's what I hope. I hope somebody's like, hey, you know what we should do? We should make a fake story about insurance scams just to be dicks towards all the people that complain about insurance scams all the time.
I am okay with that.
Yeah. And it's probably got nothing to do with it. That's what I hope behind the scenes.
Probably not. Yeah, it probably has nothing to do with that. They don't seem like they're that...
They don't seem like they're me.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Because that's totally something I would do.
You would.
Yeah. Anyway. Hawksworth Hot Culture. So fashion show in London. I don't care about fashion. Okay. I know they've mentioned many times that they're thinking about doing fashion as a part of the universe and clothing and blah blah blah. I'll run cargo to make money that includes clothing, but other than that I don't care about it in the slightest.
Yep. I don't give 2 flying fucks.
Give me cargo pants so I can carry lots of stuff and a trench coat with lots of pockets and I'm a happy camper. Because that's what I'll care about most is function.
Exactly.
So intro is Ben on his own again. Sandy's back in London doing additional Squadron 42 shooting. Vandal updates we had last week, the Flyable Scythe, Void Bomber, etc. FPS module, there's still no date for. And Chris Roberts is still working on the mocap and PCAP. I think they said there's about month and a half left of that.
Yep.
And then E3 was that week. Is it still going on? I don't care about E3, so I don't pay attention.
Gotta be over. I think it had to end on Sunday, right?
I don't care. The only thing I notice is like their E3 trailers that come out on YouTube, and then I care, and I'm like, oh, cool, E3 trailer, yeah.
Right.
They walked the floor, but I think the comment was, "There's nothing as great as Star Citizen," so I like that. That was a good comment.
Fired.
Although I think the big news from this year's E3 was the Final Fantasy VII remake. So
that was the biggest news for me.
Well, I think that's the biggest news for most people. Is like, oh, I forget who it was. I read on Twitter a comment where somebody was like, the Sony booth was almost as if it was written by somebody's fan fiction on what E3 would be this year. It's like Final Fantasy VII re-release, all this other junk.
Yes. Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid, new one. Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I'm really hopeful that they keep, most of 7 the same and just make it really, really pretty. And then I will play it all over again and get really mad when spoiler alert, when Aerith dies again. Okay, if you don't fucking know that Aerith dies at 7, dude, get with the fucking program.
I never even played the game, and I still do that. Because I've heard nothing but like people complaining about that for like decades now at this point.
I broke a controller over it.
You're like, what? What? No!
I know. I was like, I just got her level 3 limit break. I was so excited, and then she died. And I was like, fuck.
Here's the thing, like, I can imagine in my head, because I know you so well, exactly what your reaction was. Like, down to probably even getting the words correct that you would say. And I can't repeat those words with good conscience.
They're not appropriate for anyone.
They're not appropriate to be spoken, let alone, on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, man. So, lots of blah, blah, blah. They also talked about Chris Roberts' PC Gamer panel video that he did that we mentioned last week, and they showed that again. So, like we said last week, the highlights for Star Citizen followers is the additional ships that they showed in the universe and additional stuff that they were showing. So, cool.
Very cool.
So Spectrum News this week, we had Santa Monica, and I spelt Santa Monica wrong in my note. I was really tired when I wrote this. Holy crap. Santa Monica with Travis and Darian. So they were talking about how their focus right now is a balance pass for the Alpha 1.2 release, which is the FPS module for anybody who doesn't know. Vandal Scythe HUD they've also been working on, which we saw some of that. They also have a thing later on that Zane did where he talks about the HUD and how he's working on that. And they're also integrating the lighting system for the Ghost system as well. So, when you red alert, lights flare red, damage, flickering, that type of thing.
Yeah, so. I'm really excited to see how the Ghost system pans out.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where it's like, if they make it well, you won't even know it's there.
Right.
Because everything will just be like, oh, of course. It makes total sense.
Exactly.
Then we had Elphonic with just David on his own. Chuck has not been in like the last 3 or 4 of these, so I'm thinking Chuck's like super busy.
Yeah, I don't think Chuck has much time for
this anymore. He's probably got like my work life right now, where it's like you're working 2 full-time jobs or something. Yeah. Yep. So mentioned they're technically working on 3 new grenades, but wouldn't say what the grenades are. So I thought it would be fun to theorize. Ooh. I'm thinking one of them is probably like a cryoban style grenade where it freezes, right?
Oh yeah, or like some kind of like sticky goop it puts on the ground and you can't move. That would be okay. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe an acid one too.
Maybe, kind of like
damage over time, burns through like the floor, burns through like a wall, that type of thing.
That would be interesting. I was thinking maybe some kind of like bouncing grenade, or something you could easily bounce around corners or something. To like flush out, really entrenched positions or something. I don't know.
Or maybe like the other type of sticky grenade, like from Halo, where it sticks to people.
Oh God, I would just be thrilled with that. That was my favorite part about Halo, is sticking people.
Especially when you get on like their visor and it just sits there. There's like that 1 to 2 second moment where everybody's like, "Oh shh."
Yeah. What do you mean, like a blue spider? Get it off.
Get it off, yeah. So, maybe those, or some that we haven't even thought of. Like, a net grenade would be cool. Like, you throw it and breaks apart open and it's a net and like entraps people and crap like that.
Okay, I'd be cool with that.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like stuff that hasn't been done to death in previous games. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of too. A net grenade would be pretty unique. I can't remember too many things I've seen like that, like in a grenade format. I've seen net guns in games, but
right.
Well,
We'll see.
Yeah.
They're also working on network optimization, and at that point, I tuned out because, God, like you can go back over our notes for like the last month and a half, and like every single time, network optimization, those 2 words listed. But you know, in all fairness, that is the biggest challenge that they have right now.
Right, it is the biggest blocker. So
yeah, I don't know enough about network setup and all that stuff. Like I understand the basics and I can do like simple server type applications, but like the level that they're going to is beyond me. So
oh god, yeah,
I feel their pain.
yeah, extremely intricate stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. So they had some issues with the item port system related to network optimization when they were over 8 players, but apparently Wormbite helped them fix this issue. Something about a cap that was in place in the back end for CryEngine that wouldn't let them send additional information beyond that amount or something.
Yeah,
I forget what he said.
That makes sense.
Aim down sights. They did some work on that where they took out the animations to give specific timing values for how they switch in between, and now they've put the animations back in and are trying to match those up with the timings that they put in. So, for example, pulling out your gun and looking down the sight, or going back to a normal view and then looking down the sight again, that type of thing. It's all.
I watched some footage of some of the leaked FPS stuff, you know, people who've managed to hack into it with the leaked document, you know, all that stuff that came out.
No, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
this is news to me.
Who
would watch any of that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so I was watching some of it, and I mean, you go from ADS to just your regular, you know, hip fire pretty quickly. And your ADS, at least at the time of the leak, was pretty accurate. It fired in a pretty tight cone. Your hip fire, you know, kicked pretty hard. So it looked somewhat Counter-Strike-ish. I don't know if I agree with their assessment that they thought Counter-Strike was the closest game it played to.
Well, they didn't say Source. They like the original.
1.6 plays very similar to Source.
All right.
The only difference is, so the biggest difference between 1.6 and Source is that in 1.6 the guns had predetermined recoil patterns, right? And whereas in Source they have like their patterns, but they go in like a certain direction and have a certain like frequency of spread and that kind of thing, but it's much more random than 1.6 was. 1.6, like literally the guns, like the players were so good that they could, you know, move the gun down and be perfectly accurate to extreme degrees because the guns had exactly the same recoil every time.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I mean, and the other thing is there's no aim down sights in Counter-Strike.
Yeah, so... I just don't. Yeah, I don't want Counter-Strike.
It didn't look like Counter-Strike at all.
Yeah, I don't want Counter-Strike either because I suck at Counter-Strike. Yeah. Like, I'm willing to put the time in to be good at Counter-Strike if it's, you know, Star Citizen is like that.
Right.
But I don't want to. Like, you know.
I think it's gonna be much similar to like a Call of Duty.
Well, that's the way it originally looked. But like, if it was some amalgamation between Call of Duty and Counter-Strike, that'd be fine with me. Yeah. You know,
I can see that.
That would be better. A more realistic Call of Duty, not like Arma, but like
Arma's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm running through a field for 5 minutes and I'm dead, and no.
Oh, welcome to real life warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not fun at all.
Yeah, right?
Wait, you mean we're literally going to sit here behind this hill for 2 hours, not moving, so we don't get killed? What? That's not
super fun.
That's stupid. Why would we do that?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. I mean, obviously, that was the leaked was, you know, way earlier versions,
right?
Anyway, so it could be a lot different by the time it comes out.
Well, and that's pretty much, I mean, all that we can say about it right now until we learn more.
Yeah.
Then we had Austin with Jake and Emery. Emery is a 2011 CryEngine modder from Milwaukee who got hired by CIG recently. Apparently, like, sent in a resume they never heard anything, and then he just started doing mod work on Reddit that they saw, and then they liked that, and then they gave him a call. So don't send resumes, people. Just do mod work and post it on Reddit, and that's how you get jobs.
That seems to be that's smart. I like it.
Right now he's working on the Gold Horizon, which is cool because that lighting stuff that he's putting in should be in 1.2, and then they're going to have him work on a bunch of other stuff after Gold Horizon's out, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to like, hey, I worked on that. Like, that's the one thing where I kind of wish I did work at CIG, because then I would be able to go, oh, hey, I did that when you and I are playing. Oh, I'm the one who did this thing.
Yeah, that would be pretty satisfying.
But I don't know. At the same time, I don't want CIG to be my job and my play. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah. I'd hate it. I couldn't do it.
Like, if you were a QA tester and you were playing the game all day long, would you want to play the game for fun then afterwards? No.
Oh, way.
Yeah. You'd get sick of it. So, that's pretty cool. Congratulations to him. Hopefully, he gets to work on lots of really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Then after that, we had Foundry 42 with Eddie and Nick. They're working on the Shubin mining station, so that includes designing layouts, overall budget of the station itself. They gave us some information about it. It's a huge 6-kilometer long station, which is awesome, with supposedly more than 20 landing pads. So if this is in Squadron 42, and which is what they're billing it as, that's a level in Squadron 42 that's over 6 kilometers long.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
I'm super excited for that.
Some of the stuff they talked about too was the first-person level detail that they're putting all over the station. So, like, you land on the landing pad, you go through the airlock, and then there are things that give you a sense of dimension and perspective. Like lamps or chairs or windows, etc. So it's literally to the point where like you can fly around the outside, look inside, and see, oh my god, all this little tiny stuff, or you can see people flying outside while you're inside in rooms and etc.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to say than I want it, and I want it now. After that, we had a Meridian Transit postcard for the Sol System, and I was like, it's Sol System. We don't know what's there. Right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Then James did an interview with Gage Hallman, who's one of their associate 3D artists. He works primarily on cleanup, bugs, and whatever art projects they need help with at the time. He was one of those guys, and I forget what team he said he was on, but it was from the next Great Starship. He was one of the people that worked on one of the ships for that.
Oh, that's right. What team? I forgot too. I watched this.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what he said. Crap.
Yeah.
Oh well.
He's currently working on the internal structure for the Scythe. We could go back, but we don't really care enough to go back. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's working on the internal structure for the Scythe, and they showed some of the in-progress work on that, which was really cool. It was nice to see the internal dimensions and innards and guts and all that.
Right.
He's comparing the Vandal ships to the human ships. The Vandal ships tend to be messy, more chaotic seeming, whereas the human ships are more streamlined, cleaner looking. And, with all of the work he's doing, it's going to go into when they're making damage states for the different Vandal. So that's pretty interesting, actually.
Right.
God, the one thing about Arena Commander is when you're like fighting, you're never like close enough or zoomed in enough to see with enough precision all the damage that you're doing, unless you're like right on top of the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you do like the zoomed in view, it's still, you don't see all the little nukes and crannies, but Aftermath is always fun to look at, or to look at your own ship as it's getting chewed up.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's kind of the fun of it right now, is going into the third person and just like watching like pieces fall off your ship as you're getting shot up. I mean, I think the damage state stuff will be a lot more like awe-inspiring when we've got bigger ships, and it'll be a lot more obvious.
Oh yeah, like you blow a chunk out of an Idris and you see like atmosphere venting and that type of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
That would be really cool. And then we had Ship Shape with Lisa Ohanian. They did the Anvil Aerospace this time, talking about the company and the ships they make. Founded back in 2772 on Terra. Right now, their current headquarters though is on Nova Kiev. They make UE military ships primarily and civilian variants of those. And one of the interesting facts is the Hornet has destroyed more enemy hardware than all other Navy ships combined.
Yay.
Whatever. That F8 heavy fighter that they showed though was awesome looking. I want one.
I know.
Like, had we seen an F8 heavy picture before this?
Uh
Not that I remember, but maybe I missed it.
I think we did see it once before. I think we have seen it like somewhere along the line. Like it looked somewhat familiar, but it does look badass.
I want one.
I know.
They're not for civilians, cool. But I'm thinking we can fix that with a few thievery actions.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Or maybe we'll get awarded one through Squadron 42. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Could be.
That would be baller. They showed the style guide, what chips look like, blah, blah. Crucible's coming soon as well, they mentioned. But that's just so people don't ask them about the Crucible like they do every week, I'm sure. Then one thing that I was like vindicated with my analysis of the Hornet cockpit was they showed an X-Wing as a sample.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, totally called it. Boom. Not that it's like that surprising because it did look exactly like an X-Wing cockpit the first time I hopped into it. So
it totally felt like an X-Wing.
Yeah. I mean, let's face facts though. If you're gonna model your primary ship off of any sci-fi genre fighter, which would you model it off of?
There's only one answer.
Yeah. The Star Fury from Babylon 5? No?
I've actually just been rewatching Babylon 5. I got the whole series on DVD.
God.
So I've been plowing through that. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that.
I hope you're just like skimming the first season because the first season's awful.
No, I'm rewatching it the whole way through.
I tried getting a friend of ours.
I'm regretting it sometimes, but
I tried getting a friend of ours into Babylon 5 because you and I always talk about it because we powered through it. And in my head, I always kind of forget about how terrible the first season is. And we watched like the first episode of the first season. He's like, this show's not very good. I'm like, it's really not great until season 3.
Yeah, it's season 2. It takes a little while to get going. And then, season 3 is like, and 4 are just really, really good.
Yeah. But until then, you just kind of have to power through it.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then they had their second Meridian transit, the Castra system. Again, don't really care. Whatever. If we were interactable or clickable, great. They keep mentioning, like, too, oh, what's with those postcards? Maybe we should bring those up. And, like it's some sort of thing that we care about,
They've got to be planning something, right? I don't know.
It's probably going to be an in-universe thing, like you can collect postcards or, like, for subscribers, that type of thing.
Okay.
Then we had Zane Bien, who's their UI designer, who talked about the Vandal UI and some of the things that go into the Vandal UI. It looked really cool. First of all, I have to say, he's trying to make it feel organic and aggressive looking, have the flow of the overall interface be towards the center of the HUD. And with that, they also have some Vandal language and tribal look and feel. And the one thing that they mentioned, which I didn't know, which I thought was really cool, is that when you boot up the ship at the first time, it shows the Vandal UI, and then all of a sudden, like, that phases out, and then the human UI is over top of it.
Yeah.
But then, like, if it'll glitch out periodically, like if you take a lot of damage or stuff, that's so cool. That's such a good idea.
Can here's my question. If I get super nerdy and decide to learn how to read Vandal,
oh god,
like, can I just get a Vandal interface? Like,
you mean like when you were reading Aurebesh? For Star Wars.
Yeah, I did. I learned how to completely read it. I could at one point. I can't anymore, but at one point, I was walking around. I literally spent like hours in Tor just walking around reading stuff.
Hey man,
that's what I did.
The tractor beam projector in the 1997 or 1977 version of Star Wars was in English. Is all I'm gonna say. It wasn't until later they made it all Aurebesh. So just say there's no need.
No. Yeah. I did it anyway.
Next up, he'll be working on the Merlin UI, so that's interesting. If he's working on the Merlin UI, that means they're probably going to try and get it playable at some point soon.
Hey.
Yay. I wonder if that's going to come out with the Constellation, like as a package, Merlin and Constellation, or just Merlin on its own, and then Constellation when we get multi-crew, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to have the Merlin out at the same time as the Constellation, so I can load up with a buddy.
Right,
Who
and
just
whatever you
jumps
hop
into
into it.
that. Yeah.
Well, like, what would your Constellation crew load up be for Arena Commander? 4 people? Or would it be like
Yeah.
6? Because
Well,
then you'd have 2
there's
turreters, 2 side crewers for the seats that you got in the cockpit, and then 1 in the fighter.
yeah, I think 5
So,
be
well,
about right.
5 but yourself.
Right.
Plus yourself, yeah.
Plus yourself, yeah, 4, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They say the max crew's a 4 on that thing, so I don't know.
That's weird. I mean, there are 3 seats up front and there are 2 turrets.
Yeah, and then you've got 1 fighter, but I think there's only like 4 beds, right?
Yeah.
So maybe those seats aren't always combat seats; they're just like navigation seats, and then you don't need them during combat, and that's when they switch to the turrets.
That could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's pretty much it for the UI. Then they also have the outro, where they're still collecting backer pictures. I wonder if that's still going on, actually. That might be through tonight, and then they're done. One thing they said is please wear clothes.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. And then you're thinking, oh, yeah, they probably are getting people sending stuff in.
Guarantee some dude's like, Sandy, check me out.
Oh.
Sent a picture of himself naked.
Like, at CIG women, check this out, that type of thing.
God. I know, you know what happened, dude. There's just...
Well, and there's probably the reverse of that, where it's some chick who's like, hey, check me out, to all the guys, you know?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure somebody saw some dude at CIG or woman, whatever she's into, and sent some pictures.
Wow. Moving on.
Yep.
Sneak peek this week was a Shubin console screen. Whoop-de-doo. I'm sorry, I was not that excited over the Shubin interface console.
Were we supposed to be? I
don't know.
Maybe somebody was.
I would rather... Here's how you do marketing, CIG. Have a picture of, like, in-game content of, like, combat going on for the FPS module that you're, to hype it up, to make people more excited. Have, like, a picture of somebody looking down the sniper scope, shooting somebody in the head type deal.
Yes.
That's your sneak peek.
Yes,
there
please.
You go.
I need that in my life.
I'm just saying. Like, I know my audience, and my audience is nerdy guys like me. That's what we want to see.
You are correct.
Yeah. Moving on. You got anything else you want to talk about for Around the Verse? All right.
No.
Reverse the Verse, episode 52. I'm sure you didn't watch it this time.
Nope.
Good for you. It was like the worst episode of all the ones I've watched so far.
Oh my god.
Well, so it was the E3 aftermath, and they were talking about stuff that they saw at E3 a lot, and apparently there was virtual reality stuff everywhere at E3 this year.
Yep.
And then they were also the ones who mentioned that the Sony press conference was like a fan fiction release, where it's so a lot of what they were talking about was just random stuff that they'd saw and done at E3, and I didn't feel it was necessary to rehash on the show, frankly. If you care about that, go watch it.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff they did mention, Star Citizen related, which wasn't much, but the UI mockup for the terminal on the Shubin station was what they confirmed the sneak peek to be. Tethered ship flight is not viable, which they've mentioned previously, but Matt Sherman elaborated that they might have space tugs viable if, like, the ship that they're hauling doesn't have anyone in it.
Yeah.
So, that's that might in the future, but they're not sure.
Okay.
In general, they need more systems in place before they start worrying about competitive modes, because they've had several people asking where the competitive modes are going to be, and they're like, we're not going to do that until we have a stable environment to have competitive play in.
Yeah.
They're considering doing weapon pack component packs in the future, so like for ships, if you want to buy Super Hornet weapon pack A or Super Hornet weapon pack B or C, that type of thing.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm kind of yay or nay on it. Like,
yeah.
On the one hand, I want to be able to buy weapons with real money instead of UE. On the other hand, I don't want it to be like a predetermined weapon that I have to take that they give me,
Well, I would assume the pack means you just get those guns and then you can interchange them with other ones you already have. So.
Right. In which case, you buy all the packs and then you just do whatever you want. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dragonfly is in prep for concepting. Stop asking about it.
That's like 4 weeks in a row we've had to talk about that fucking thing.
Well, it's because everybody's excited for it because it sounds cool.
I guess.
Yeah. The Genesis Starliner concept is coming soon, quote unquote. TM. Ooh. Soon TM.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, they were talking a couple of concepts coming up. So this Starliner, they're saying, is going to be another type of gameplay added to the game, the ferrying people gameplay.
So, okay. So is the 890 jump going to be part
of
that?
I feel like the 890 jump is kind of like the moving carnival ship, whereas the Genesis Starliner is more like the Boeing 747.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, either way, both of them should be that mechanic. I just feel like they're different styles,
Okay, yeah.
But who knows? They have a company-wide FPS review going on presently, which he can't tell us more about because it's currently going on. He's not doing it. And Ben is apparently becoming the ship concept director. Was announced as well. So whatever that entails. New position.
Crazy. Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he'd had anything to do with like actual in-game stuff ever.
You felt it was just all community.
Well, that's why, and he's good at it. That's why I thought they'd keep him there, but maybe that's what he really wants to do.
I feel like a big part of the community is ship concept and stuff like that. So it's a transition, but I don't feel like it's a major transition for him. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure he's going to be doing different stuff now. So I wonder if like anybody's taking over the community lead position. Then I don't know.
Somebody has to. There's no way you can do all that.
Maybe they'll give it to James, since James seems to fill in a lot for that type of thing, or Lando.
Yeah, it could be.
Again, they talked about the netcode being the biggest technical challenge they have right now. And one of the things that they mentioned later on was it's often weird to see how forum discussions mirror internal discussions when they're looking at them, where it's like the discussions that we have on forums about like, controller balance and all this stuff is, stuff that they have going on at the same time internally. So,
right.
Yeah. That's pretty much everything I highlighted from Reverse the Verse. There was a lot more, but my concentration wasn't on par. I'll admit.
Well, that's fine. I think that's a pretty decent overview anyway.
Hopefully. If not, whatever. People will be like, you didn't mention.
Oh, right.
I'll be like, oh, they talked about that? Whatever. I was functioning on 4 hours of sleep when I wrote that. Whatever. 10 for the producers, episode 8. This one was a long one. It was 41 minutes and 56 seconds. It was with Travis and Eric. So let's jump right into these questions. These were like genuine producer questions this time, and not like, hey, tell us more about the system or tell us more about the functionality.
Right. Good job, subscribers.
Good job, guys.
There you go.
Here's a cookie. Moving on. So the first question was about development stability and in module integration. So, and like integrating the different parts and making it stable, and like does that affect how you can predict the timeline and all of that stuff. And essentially it boils down to these early modules require a lot more research and development features, so it's not as easy to predict how long it's going to take to put in. But like later on when they're just putting in content, like, oh, we need XYZ ships, we need XYZ guns, XYZ armors, XYZ planets, stations, etc., then it will be a lot easier for them to figure out time-wise when things are going to release.
Well, right. And it seems like a lot of what they're finding is that the back end on CryEngine isn't quite up to snuff for what they need to do, so they're having to rewrite the code, behind the scenes, and that's and that's like I said, that's part of the R&D stuff where they're just discovering, oh, hey, we've got these limitations that we need to overcome. How can we do that? And those are, that seems to be what's causing most of the big issues.
Yeah. Well, and the net code, so.
Yes, and the net code.
Second question we had was accounting for the unexpected in development timeline. So in relation to the development timelines, pretty much the gist of this was scheduling is a pain, meeting, desk time, iteration, etc. Trying to get everybody on the same page and doing the same thing at the same time can be a real pain in the butt. So.
Yeah, I mean I've seen that, in our projects. I'm sure you've seen it in your projects at your work
Oh
where
God, yes.
everything gets behind because, people in this other department just fall behind for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden you're 3 weeks behind and your bosses are wondering why, and you're like, well,
Yep.
it's
This
not
is
my
why.
fault.
Well, like my current project is my fault, but that's just because, there's only 24 hours in a day and I get assigned 40 hours of work to do each day. So it's my fault.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it sounds like they need to assign more resources to you, which is what a good project manager would do.
Yeah, I'm not, no comment.
Doesn't sound...
Moving on. Not that anybody from work would ever listen to this, but still, moving on. No comment. Um, breaking down asset development by type. So this is, we're trying to build a ship, or we're trying to build VFX, or we're trying to do audio, or, whatever you're trying to work on. Does the different types and different features allow you to be a little more knowledgeable on timelines and things like that? And essentially, not really. I mean, it varies even within types by how long it's going to take.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny part is a lot of this is just understanding the people that you have and like what they can get done in a certain amount of times and what you can kind of come to expect from them. But even then, it's super unpredictable because you can run into problems that just would stump somebody and they usually don't, or someone's having a bad day, or somebody's dog gets sick.
Well, that's the unexpected always comes up too. Right in the middle of like your busiest time. It's like those 3 months prior where you weren't really doing anything. Nobody takes a day off. It's when you're, in the middle of a hassle time. That's when everybody takes time off.
Exactly.
Staffing a project, outsourcing versus hiring new team members, and it's about time, money, and scheduling and balancing those areas. So I understand where they're coming from, like from a project manager's perspective on outsourcing versus hiring team members and like why they like outsourcing.
Right.
I personally and professionally, in general, don't like outsourcing, at least for the stuff I've been doing.
Yeah.
Like,
what's funny is the only thing that I actually have found that I like having outsourced at my job is project managers.
Oh,
because they come in and they're completely neutral. Like when we have in-house project managers, like they get really concerned with sucking up to people above them and trying to look good and that kind of thing. Like it becomes like a jockeying position, so they start having biases towards things that they shouldn't, that aren't helping the business,
right,
and that are only helping them personally. But if they're neutral, like the best project manager we had was a consultant, and he just came in and it just got stuff done.
Nice.
He's just like, no, it's easy to get done. You can't, no excuses. Here's your timeline, get it done. So anyway, that's my opinion on it.
My experience with outsourcing has been now I need to spend additional time helping you instead of doing my own work, and then you just disappear after a while, and I have to fix everything that you broke.
Yeah, I imagine that would be frustrating.
Yeah. That's been my experience with outsourcing in the couple of times I've had to deal with it. So
yeah, I've had similar experiences with like direct, tech implementations.
Oh yeah,
from outsourced companies. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and it's always like, oh, I went to Duke or I went to blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, great, but you don't know what the hell you're doing, so that degree doesn't mean jack crap to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm very welcoming and I like showing people how to do stuff, and I totally get when you're new to something, you need extra help, but then I expect a level of like, not quality, but caring to go in from you as well. Like, I don't care if you do everything wrong if you actually care about what you're doing, but if you do everything wrong and you clearly don't care, then we have a problem.
Right, and you're not actively trying to learn and get better.
Yep. And that's been like the people that I've had encounters with through outsourcing. Whereas the people that like are hired, to the team and this is their job, they tend to care more because,
Yeah.
it's their source of income and they're not going to get paid regardless. So,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, minimizing delays in production. So they pretty much talked about the various steps that they've got for production releases. Like they have a master setup areas, their main area, then their release areas, and they back propagate from a release to all the other areas to bring them all in sync. And I'm just kind of like, you mean you do the SDLC? I'm just like, and you have a setup environment, then you have a master test environment, then you have a release environment. Wow, crazy. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
That's kind of what I expected too. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of wish at my company we followed this a little more in certain areas, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's nice to know they at least do it the right way.
Have a process. Yeah.
Yes.
This difficult aspects of being a senior producer. So difficult aspects for them is balancing all of the aspects. So people management, budget, scheduling, etc. Which, everything's difficult for different reasons at different times.
Yeah.
Next question was about planning. How can you get accurate estimates? And they're pretty much hard until you get to know your team better. So I guess that's the downside of project managers that are outsourcing that you talked about, is they don't know the team well, so they can't get like an accurate estimate out of them if they're new all the time.
That's true. I mean, that is one of the things that they would find to be challenging. They'll have certain expectations of certain people, based on previous experiences with people in those roles, and they can either, exceed or, not quite live up to their standards, so they could fall behind and that kind of thing.
Well, for me, because I've done some of this, it's like I consider myself average for like skill ability. So like, if I know it would take me about 4 hours, somebody new I assume would take 8 hours, and somebody experienced and advanced would take about 2 hours.
Right.
So, that's usually what I go by.
Yeah, and with my previous project manager, I mean, I think he had a pretty good grasp on that kind of stuff, and he had a pretty good feel for what people were and weren't capable of. But I think the thing that really, strangely enough, got him like the most stuff done was to just set a deadline and be really adamant about it, and that really got people to kind of, buckle up and get ready and get stuff done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's still running the unexpected, and there's still delays, but overall, he did a really nice job. Probably helped his former military.
You will do this, or you will give me 20 push-ups. Just yell it into your ear while you're sitting there on your computer.
He's actually
what do you think you're doing, paper thin?
He was actually really one of the nicest guys that we had. He sat right across from me in our cubes, and nice. we would talk about stuff. He worked in the Air Force and actually worked on like some of the X-plane projects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was super interesting to talk to about that kind of stuff.
Let's see. Sharpening your skills as a producer, what's some of the things you can do? So this boiled down to reading books, use different types of project management programs, playing games, love what you're making as much as you love playing it. Learn the tools that are being used, learn programming, etc. So
it's all good stuff. Yeah.
In other words, live your life. Do what you would think.
Right. Be knowledgeable.
Yeah. Process of implementing a new feature in Star Citizen. So what's the steps that you go through? Again, SDLC, requirements, analysis, configuration, quality assurance. There you go.
Yep.
They didn't use those terms, but that's what they talked about essentially.
Right.
Then last question, the resolving creative disagreements during development. And essentially that boiled down to make sure you have clearly defined roles and responsibilities, and you could have good ideas, but always know that it's coming from a place where everybody wants to bring out the best product. It doesn't necessarily mean that your idea is bad. It's just not what's best right now for the product.
Yeah, this is something that in my professional life I've seen a lot of companies struggle with, is not being able to define their roles and responsibilities well. And then you have a lot of internal conflict that's just nonsense, because neither person is seeing it from the right way, and because it's not defined correctly. So,
right now the
I could go on
issue
for
I'm running
hours.
into is documentation.
Oh,
And nobody taking
that's always
responsibility for
yes.
documentation.
Yep. Nobody ever wants to do it.
I'm like the most anal person, so everything I do is super documented. Like you've seen me in like personal life. Imagine what I'm like in professional life. That's just all I'm gonna say to you, like as an aside. So
I get frustrated because I'm the same way. I'm such an anal documenter. Like I have to make sure every little step is clearly defined. Every little click, every little nuance of it is clearly defined. And I've seen so many documents that people send to me, and they just expect you to read in between the lines in a couple steps, and it's like, no, like you can't. You're not telling me which radial dial to click during this installation, and how am I supposed to know? Like you just can't. Well, you're just supposed to assume. No, that's not how documentation works.
There's an awesome program that I've used called Snagit. Have you used that? Oh.
Snagit's freaking amazing.
Like I don't know how I could live without it, frankly. It's like if I didn't have Snagit, I would just like cry daily.
We have so many people that use Snagit in our company, and I absolutely love it. It's so much better than the Windows snipping tool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, the Windows snipping tool is getting better, but it's still nothing compared to Snagit.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, highly recommended. If I don't know if it's free or not, but
it's worth buying. I'm just gonna say that it's worth buying,
especially in a professional environment.
I mean, you can do print screen, Control V into like Paint if you want to, and waste 20 minutes of your time doing what you can do with the print screen on Snagit in 5 seconds. But
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. That's pretty much it for the producers. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not really interesting to people unless they want to go into project management.
Yeah,
producing.
I mean, if you're into that stuff, this was a really interesting segment.
Right.
If you're not, this was a really boring segment.
Like for people that do this type of work, it was kind of like, yeah.
Plus, it was really long. 41 minutes. Is this the first time one of the 10-4s has been longer than Around the Verse?
I don't know. Chris Roberts had some rambling.
That's true. Chris Roberts does like to ramble.
I'm assuming like there's been a situation or two where his 10 for the chairmans have gone beyond the Around the Verse, because what are they gonna do? Tell him to shut up? Chris, shut up. Nobody cares. You've been talking. You've been going on a tangent for 10 minutes. Nobody's gonna say that to him. So.
No. Yeah, you're probably right. There probably was one of the 10-4s, the chairman's, that was longer.
Yeah. Let's see. We had behind the scenes ArcCorp and the Persistent Universe. So this was just some Snagits and pictures and them talking about giving us general PU information, shop information on ArcCorp, Cubby Blast, etc. AI interaction information, the scaling that they're using, them setting up iconic locations, challenges that they face with like frame rate, and overall they give us a high level view of the scope, and there's a lot to do and a lot involved, etc. I mean, nothing really struck out to me as, oh wow, that's so interesting, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, a lot of this I feel like has been covered in like some of the presentations they've given at various events.
Exactly.
Like South by Southwest and stuff. So this wasn't too surprising to me either. Everything I kind of read, I was like, yeah, yep, I know, yep.
But
if you don't know any of that stuff, like you're not obsessed with Star Citizen like we are, it's a lot of good stuff in it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm often like, how dare you ask this question? This is well-known information. And then I'm like, yeah, but who is it well-known to?
Right.
It's like when people ask me questions about Star Wars, I can't be like, how dare you not know this? There have been 8 books dedicated to this, and you need to read them in this specific. Oh, right, you're not obsessed with it. Yeah. Gotcha.
They don't have obsessive personalities like we do, where we just like sink our teeth into something and we like can't let go until we know everything.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, but makes us good podcasters, right? Right?
No.
Right, guys?
No. They're just like, no.
People are like,
you're terrible.
Listening. They're like, oh god.
I just feel people have like slapped their foreheads and are like, wow. Moving on.
This is a bad time to bring up. I think we should start another podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God, I don't have time.
I know you don't. I don't either, dude.
Like, if it could be just me showing up and shooting the shit, I can do that. Right. But like, if there's any prep involved whatsoever, nah, can't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I've been thinking, I'm like, man, I would really like to do like just a podcast about anime, but then I'm like, that can't be anything under the Flight Deck like banner. Like that is
It would have to
nothing to
be
do
its
with.
own. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have to set up a whole nother shit account and fucking do all that stuff. And I already hate a lot of that stuff as it is. Like
Yeah. You're
it's
so
time consuming.
anti-social media.
I know, and it's bad. And it's like I'm trying to get better at it, and I keep like doing new things. And we've got a SoundCloud now, and we're gonna start putting our podcasts on there. And then I was like, God, I would love to do an
It's
anime
not happening.
podcast.
Yeah,
not happening.
plus then like I would be forced to watch a lot of the animes you like, which I'm not always into.
No. Well,
and
I would watch some of the animes you like that I'm not into, which would be fine. I don't. But yeah, we
But
both get like.
we'd be limited to like we'd really only want to talk about the ones that we both like, and we've already seen all of those. So what would we do? Rewatch them? You know?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's my dumb idea of the week.
It's not a dumb idea. It's just not a realistic or feasible idea.
There you go.
Well, it is possible we could do that.
Yes.
I'd say.
Yes, but that's no, not.
I mean,
no.
we could just do a general shoot the shit podcast and have that be like a part of it. That would probably be easier to do. Where it's just like, oh, dude, I was watching this and this happened and blah blah blah. You know.
Yeah, but we do some of that at the end anyway, so I get I get my fill.
Okay. Moving on. So last thing we had was Advocacy Archive, Lost and Found. So this was an interview of a kid who survived an attack on his mother's ship. She had a music escape pod, and presumably they were attacked for an item that they'd retrieved on Cathcart, I guess.
Shopping cart?
I don't know. And there's a possible connection with the syndicate. And I'm like, which syndicate? Are there multiple syndicates? I don't know.
Is it
the syndicate?
Yeah. Syndicate? There's only one?
I don't know.
I kind of doubt that.
Yeah. It was interesting, though, getting, like, a cop perspective and, like, having all this tragedy happen. And it's kind of like, is this going to be one of the mission types in-game? Are you going to, like, rescue a kid and then, like, give him an interview and then, learn all this backstory and stuff and have to figure out a mystery? If so, that's really awesome. I haven't seen that done well in a MMO. If not, then I don't really care.
Yeah, I imagine this has got to be like a precursor to like some ideas they have for missions where you go out and find some escape pods and there's a kid in it and then you space him and watch his corpse float around and.
No, you put him on as a hood ornament like baby Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. Put book front and center. He's our friend. We should honor him. Oh, Jade, try not to steal too much of their shit. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, so good. Like I quote that more than I do the actual movie.
Oh, I know. That's like that's the great part about Serenity is like the outtakes are like almost the funniest part of the movie.
Get out of the way! Would you turn? Would you turn?
Fine. You want to fly? Fucking fly.
I'll be in my bunk. Damn it! I don't need a backspace ship driver. God. Anyway, so that's it for this week's Star Citizen news. There was a episode of something called Bug Smashers, which I promptly blocked out and moved past.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Don't care. Moving on. You guys don't like Bug Smashers? No, we don't.
No, we don't. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, go back and listen to the Bug Smashers complaining, because there's plenty of it.
Oh, I think since episode 1 to episode whenever they made it its own episode.
Yep.
Yeah. So video games that have come out that I thought were interesting. There's the Rainbow Six Siege, where it's 2 teams, and one's an assault team and one's a defense team, and they've got hostages and all this crap. Looks pretty interesting. Because there are different.
Heard about that.
Well, there are different modes that you can do. The assault team, one guy will have an axe, so he can chop through the floor, through a wall, and then the defense team will have barricades that they can put up and stuff like this to block off areas and things like that. So
that sounds really fun.
Yeah, and it's a 4v4, I think. So.
Huh. I'd like to play that if it was a little bigger, but like 6v6 or.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is longer. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I haven't
heard anything about it.
I don't think it's come out yet. I think that's like a pre-orderable game. You can find out more on Steam.
Okay.
And then Batman Arkham Knight came out.
Yeah, too much much anger. Have you not been hearing about the extreme disappointment? Mad. Oh, people are mad. People are mad.
I honestly have not heard any of the disappointment because I've been too busy.
Have you played any of it? Have you gotten it? I know you're a big fan.
I never get them right away. I always wait until 6 months later when the price drops and they've worked out a lot of the bugs. Because I don't, I'm able to avoid the story spoilers and stuff like that well enough, so it's not that big a deal. So why are people mad?
The biggest reason is because they limited the frames to 30 frames per second, which is what the console version is limited to. And the PC people are pissed because, people have, computers that can run 60 frames per second. Right. Why aren't you giving us the ability to play the game the way it should be, in gorgeous 60 FPS? And the developers are just saying, meh. So
that's gonna get modded.
Are livid.
That's gonna get modded soon.
The ratings on the game on Steam are horrendous. I think it was 69% disapproved, disliked it.
Wow,
it's insane.
So is that the major complaint everybody had?
That's the major one that I've seen. There have been others that I've heard about, not bug related, even just gameplay related. Something to do with the Batmobile in it. People don't like the way it functions. I didn't really look too far into it, but
when I was looking at it, it was strafing to the side and all this crap, and I'm like, why is a car strafing to the side?
Yeah,
stuff like that has always bugged me in games. Like the old Twisted Metal games, I think you could do that stuff in too.
Oh, absolutely, you could. I love those games though. I don't care what anyone says.
Still, I mean, strafing to the side in a car.
It's totally bizarre. No, it's totally dumb.
Dumb. Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking about for video games, and I've been meaning to maybe get it, but God, it's $60 is Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
And man, I really want to play it because I really like the Street Fighter games.
Here's the problem with getting those games is unless you have somebody to play with, it's not worth it. I got Soul Calibur 4 because I really like the Soul Calibur games, but aside from me, nobody was willing to put in the time to get good at it, and then I can't play with people when they show up because I'm going to be way higher skill level than they are.
That's what the internet play is for these days.
Yeah, I know, but
people on the internet.
I don't enjoy that because I way prefer playing with my friends than I do some stranger on the internet.
Oh, I can play against people on the internet. I was so happy when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out on Xbox 360 and I could play people online.
Right.
I mean, because I was just so used to getting wrecked by my friends because they're so good at it. I could actually go play people that were around my level.
It's I remember visiting you in college and playing with you guys, and I'm terrible, and the only character I could do anything with was Ken because I'd played so much Street Fighter 2 Ken that I knew every move of his perfectly, and that's not a good character in that game to be good. No,
he's not. No, he's not very good.
Well, it's I can play Ken, I can play Ryu because I could also play Ken. I can play Akuma because I could also play Ryu and Ken, but that's my limited options.
Right. Well, you played a lot of, which one was it? Capcom versus SNK 2?
Yeah, back in I think that was on GameCube or whatever when that came out.
Playing some of it with you.
I was stupid good at that.
Yeah, you were. I remember you were quite good. Man. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I want to get Street Fighter V is just have another single player thing for me to play. Because right now, all I do is play Hearthstone by myself, which is great, but it gets a little old.
Well, I picked up the Hitman games and I picked up the Witcher games, so I got to get into those. And I also picked up GTA. I mean, GTA would give you something to do for a long while.
Oh yeah, I could entertain myself for a while at GTA, but do I want to spend $60 on it? Would I? I got to ask myself: would I play more GTA 5 or would I play more Street Fighter 5? I don't know the answer to that question.
Because they're the same cost, yeah.
Yeah, that's my dilemma.
I always go by the movie cost analogy, where it's I'm willing to spend $9.50 or $10.50 or whatever it is on a movie, and that's only usually about 2 hours long. So that means I'm willing to spend that much money for 2 hours of entertainment. Will I get that same amount of entertainment out of this video game, at that cost ratio? Usually well better than,
Right. Well, the interesting thing is now that I think about it, Steam does give you a 2-week trial period now of your games, and if you don't like them, you can get a refund. So I might I might just try Street Fighter 5 first. If I like it enough where I'm going to play the crap out of it and get good at it, let's keep it. And then if I don't like it, maybe I'll get GTA 5 instead. Because I know I'll probably enjoy GTA 5, at least enough that I can justify the cost. I'm not as sure with Street Fighter 5.
I mean, worst case in GTA 5, if you want to have fun, you just start ramming and killing people.
Well, right, I'm just going to get online and troll. Like, that's...
Like,
I'll have a lot of fun with that.
When I first got GTA 5, I spent that weekend pretty much, like driving like a bat out of hell and like killing people and all this stuff. And then I like hopped in my car for like the first time in a couple of days and got stuck in traffic. And I'm just like, GTA, want to bust a cap at all their asses and just drive out to the median and go past.
Yeah, what is this traffic crap?
It's like in college when I used to play a lot of Burnout, and then I'd like drive to work, and I'm just like, don't speed. Those
driving games, man, they definitely warp your sense of perception a little bit.
Well, it's like in the game you can get across town in like 2 seconds because you just drive on the sidewalk and all this other crap, and then like in real life you can't do that because you'll get arrested. So
stupid laws.
Oh well.
Yeah. That's all I got for video games.
Yeah, that's it for me too. You got any movies or animes or books?
I started watching an anime called Saikano. It's one that I think it just wrapped up. I think it was a spring one, and you would hate it. And quite frankly, I'm questioning why I'm watching it because it's about a guy who's like a super otaku who wants to make a dating sim.
Oh God, I would hate it.
Sim ever.
Right? I would totally hate it.
Oh, you would. And so he gets this like harem of girls to help him make it.
Of course.
But the funny part is like he's not like most main characters in a harem where he's just like dumb and like a dunce and doesn't get that the women are hitting on him. He actively hates that the women are hitting on him because he wants to like, he's like a true otaku. He's like into 2D girls and all that stuff.
God.
So it's kind of funny in that respect, but at the same time, it's still a harem anime, which I don't usually care for, and I'm just watching it because it's 12 episodes and I have not a lot else to watch right now that I'm really like super interested in, even though I have quite a huge backlog of anime to get through.
Did you ever get done with Gungrave, or are you still in the middle of that?
Episode 21. I'm almost done.
God, yeah, you're in. Yeah.
Yep. It's getting very good, and I am excited for the end.
Yeah, it's. I can't wait till I can actually talk to you about that.
Soon, probably by next week. I think I'm gonna finish it.
I mean, like, I remember when I first watched it, like, I want to say 5 years ago or something, and I'm like, hey, you should see this anime called Gungrave.
I know.
And for 5 years, I have not been able to talk to you about it because I don't want to spoil it.
All right, I'll try and finish it. So blah blah. I'm talking. I'm gonna try and finish it this week, and we'll talk about it next week. That's my plan. I think I should have enough time to finish it.
Yeah, I should rewatch it again just so it's fresh. I'll do that over the weekend.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. We got a plan, guys.
We got a plan, you guys.
It's the best plan ever.
Oh, man. Oh, other than that, let's see. Game of Thrones. I know we don't talk about it, but I heard a really good joke.
Okay.
If Jon Snow comes back as a White Walker, we can call him Snow White.
Ah, nice. I like that one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, it sounds like the show's finally caught up to where we are in the books, so that's a thing.
More or less, yeah.
So next season's going to be spoilers for everybody who's only read the books.
Yeah.
Although, like, there's enough differences that, like, it is very different from what happens in the books. Even though, like, some of the events are the same, the characters and locations and relationships are way different.
Yeah.
From my understanding, from the little I've heard or seen.
Yeah, I've actually been doing some research on what's different. And yeah, there's like a lot of you're right. The way you described it is exactly correct.
Yay.
So, good job.
Good job.
Way to go. Gold star.
Books are better. What?
I'm not disagreeing. I haven't read them. Well, I read half the first book, and I enjoyed it, but I got busy with other stuff, and just it's such a pain to re-pick up in the middle of a book,
Well, like, what's interesting about the books is they have a lot of, like, flashbacks that they'll do as well that you don't really get in the show. So, like, and originally it was supposed to be a trilogy of books. So, like, book one gives you more information than, like, all of them combined in terms of, like, backstory and figuring crap out.
Right.
And then, like, book 2 and 3 just kind of expanded it, and then book 4 is everybody's least favorite because it doesn't deal with all the main characters like Jon Snow and all of them.
Oh, okay.
It deals with like Samwell Tarly, and you deal with the sapphire chick. I forget her name. The ugly knight chick.
Oh, Brienne.
Breen thing, yeah. And so it deals with all those characters, which are like the side characters nobody really gives a crap about, So
Gotcha.
everybody's like, book 4, meh. And then book 5 comes out and it's got Daenerys and Tyrion and all those people that were missing from book 4 heavily, and that's why everybody liked book 5 then too.
Gotcha.
So
interesting. Well, yeah, I'll be curious to see how it goes. I like the show, so
well,
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I think that's it.
Well, hey.
Unless you got something else you want to talk about.
No, I don't got anything else. Nothing.
Want to talk about it? No.
Talk about it? No.
All right.
Not really.
All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of the Flight Deck. We will catch you guys next week.
Peace.